Welcome to the root of all success with the Real Jason Duncan, a podcast that explores how the world's most powerful entrepreneurs unlocked success and how their stories can help you do the same. A successful educator turned entrepreneur, Jason has built multi-million-dollar businesses that have been featured in Inc. magazine and Entrepreneur magazine. His life's mission now is helping entrepreneurs live what he calls #the exit lifestyle. Introducing TEDx speaker, mastermind leader, author, entrepreneur, cigar aficionado, motorcycle enthusiast, and host of The Root of All Success, the Real Jason Duncan. The Real Jason Duncan.
Welcome back to another episode of The Root of All Success. I am your host, The Real Jason Duncan, and today it's just you and me. Today I've got something I wanted to talk to you about that I think as an entrepreneur you're going to find very intriguing. And this is another universal law, very much like all the universal laws that we know about, the law of attraction, the law of gravity, the law of thermodynamics. I mean, those are all laws of the universe that have been around since the very beginning. And now, today, I'm going to talk about another universal law called the law of separation. And this is what I want to talk about. So we're going to dive into this a little bit. If there's more information you want to know about this, just need to send me a DM on Instagram or LinkedIn and say, I heard you on that episode about the law of separation. I want to talk with you a little bit more about that. But you've heard the phrase that absence makes the heart grow fonder, right? You've heard that said before. Well, and that's true that under some circumstances, a little separation can actually make us learn to love those close to us. But that temporary absence or that distance that we're talking about has nothing to do with the law of separation. So we're not talking about separating people. The law of separation is an intricate key to attaining wealth. It's an intricate key to goal achievement. And this law is one of the few circumstances where separation creates more synergy. And that's what I want to dive into today. So we're talking about this law of separation and how separation can create more synergy. And I'm going to dive right into the punchline for the whole thing. So I want you to think about your role as an entrepreneur, as a business owner, what you're trying to accomplish. Is that you have a vision that you're trying to accomplish, something that you're trying to do, whether it's in service-based or product-based business, you have a vision for that. That vision, what you want to accomplish, what you want to be, needs to remain fixed. That's point number one about the law of separation, is that when you have a clear vision and you have set goals in your business, this vision and this goal, those goals, they need to become fixed. They cannot altered. You cannot alter those. They have to stay fixed. The second point about the law of separation is this. It is naive to think that our original strategies are going to fulfill or accomplish the vision or the goals that we had at the beginning. So what that means is that your strategies will need to change from time to time. And what the law of separation teaches is that the vision and the strategy to reach the vision need to remain separate and distinct. And I'm going to give you several examples as we go through the podcast today about what that looks like. But the main thing I want you to know, no matter what you hear on the rest of this podcast, is this thing, is that the law of separation teaches that you have to separate your vision from the strategies that you're going to use to accomplish the vision. Now, as we dive into this, I want you to know it is a mistake to wait for all of the how before you begin. You need to start now. Don't wait for the how, start now is kind of a rhyme you can do to remember. And as you implement a strategy, because you don't know how to do it, you're saying, hey, I want to accomplish X, whatever X is, and you're going to put in place some strategy of reasonable intelligence, because that's who you are. You're a reasonably intelligent human being, and you're trying to accomplish something. You have a big vision, and you're trying to accomplish that. So you're going to start a strategy. It is naive to think that first strategy is going to be the one that works. I mean, you could go back through history and look at the stories of all the companies that we know about now. What did they start out as? How did they come out of the gate? What strategies did they use to accomplish whatever their vision was to begin with? And those strategies inevitably changed. Now, the question is, How many refinements does it take? How many times are you going to have to change your strategy in order to fulfill your vision? Well, historically, through studying, what we found is that it usually is upon the sixth or seventh refinement that your strategy will help you accomplish the vision and achieve the goals. 6 or 7. But how many people give up after the first? Or maybe even the second, they give up. There's a story told in Napoleon Hill's book, Think and Grow Rich, about the guy that went out and tried to find gold. And he used a certain strategy to find the gold. And he spent all this money and all this equipment. He found a little bit of gold, and he spent more money trying to get the big gold vein. And he gave up because that strategy wasn't working. He sold all the stuff to a junk man, said, I'm out. I'm not doing this. I'm never going to find the gold. And the second guy came in and refined the strategy a couple of times, and boom, strikes the biggest gold vein in the history of the gold rush. You know, we've got to understand that what you're doing in your business, that whatever that vision is, you have to stay committed to the vision. Don't change your vision. But dude, you're going to have to change those strategies a lot. Don't second guess your vision. Now, it may sound simple enough that you shouldn't second guess your vision, but most small business owners and even large corporations fail to understand and implement this way of thinking. The more common practice is that someone will have a clear vision, they'll set the goals, and then they proceed to launch this strategy, and they naively think that, well, their first attempt at it's going to hit it, and it's going to fully satisfy their goals to accomplish their vision. And as the strategy is implemented and it begins to show some success, but many more elements of failure, they become discouraged. And after a few more tries, they start second guessing their vision. Well, maybe this is not going to work. Maybe this is not who I am. Maybe this is not something I should be doing. And as time goes on, that discouragement begins to pile up. They may begin to seek out confirmation and receive a lot of advice from those who are probably not qualified to give that advice. If you've ever taken advice from unqualified people, you know what I'm talking about. And what happens is at that point, they start scaling back their vision. Maybe my vision is not right. Maybe that's what I shouldn't be doing. And they maybe even start justifying in their minds that, well, if I only hit half my goals, you know, I'm good. But that's not what you set out to do. You can't allow your vision to be altered because your strategy didn't work.
Let's take a quick break to thank our amazing sponsors for making this podcast possible.
Hey, I want to talk with you about one of my favorite tools as a salesperson and as an entrepreneur, and that tool is Dub. I want you to imagine for a minute getting an email from somebody, and instead of just being the plain old crappy text in an email, rather than just having a bunch of HTML where it's pictures and stuff, what if it was a video? And the video had a little GIF, and it was playing right there in the email as soon as you opened it, and it had your name. Like it said, hello, Jason, check this out. And then you clicked play, and it played right there in your inbox in the window. And it was somebody trying to tell you how great you are, or how awesome they can help you, how good they can help you out. That is the power of video emails. I want you to try Dub out. I've been using it for years. I have closed countless millions of dollars in sales over the last 6 years or so using Dub, and you can do it too. All you got to do is go to therealjasonduncan.com/Dub. That's DUBB. Therealjasonduncan.com/Dub. Dub will help you make an impact in your sales through video. It's going to help you with, they've even got a CRM built into it. You can build landing pages. You can do campaigns, even SMS campaigns. You can set up automations to manage workflows and maximize conversions. And like I said, they've got an existing software platform inside Dub to take your CRM to the next level. Try this out. Get a free special just by being a listener to the podcast. Go to therealjasonduncan.com/Dub. Get 2 weeks to try it for free and 50% off your first 2 months. That's therealjasonduncan.com/Dub.
Thanks for listening to our sponsors. Now, back to the show.
Now, what do you do when you're the owner of the business and you understand this law, you understand what you're trying to accomplish, but you implement a strategy and it fails. You implement a strategy and it fails. You implement a strategy and it fails. And your employees start looking around and going, does this dude even know what he's doing? Well, many of the world's greatest successes have the greatest successful people have stated that when they started, they rolled out all these different programs and these promos to their employees. And what they find is that some of the employees would look that over and go, well, that's not going to work, right? Well, the successful people whose visions were accomplished, you know what they said when the employees questioned them? They said, well, yeah, I know it's not going to work. I know it's not going to let us hit our goals right now, but that's why I'm excited to do it. Because when this doesn't work, we have data. We have data about what's going to happen, what works, what doesn't work. We can adjust the variables, and we can learn the rest of the information that we needed. That's what successful people do. And as an entrepreneur, listening to The Root of All Success with the real Jason Duncan, you have to understand that you too are going to, as a leader, have to tell your employees about this law of separations. That, hey, my vision is this, and our strategy is this. And yeah, I get it. This strategy is probably not going to work, and that's okay. But we're going to get data. We're going to collect data and learn what works and what doesn't. And eventually, through 6 or 7 iterations, maybe more, maybe less, we're going to find out that our vision can be accomplished. So when you roll out a new strategy, you've got to make sure that you're letting your employees know what's going on. And if you allow negativity to happen, if you've got employees who are sitting around going, well, this dummy, that Jason guy, this is the 6th time he's tried to do something to reach that goal he had, and none of these have worked. And I'm beginning to think this guy doesn't, well, I should own the company. I'd do better. Okay. If you let that type of negativity remain in your business, that'll bring down a large company. A bad apple, they say, can corrupt a whole bunch, right? One bad apple. And there's this rule, this is a psychological phenomenon called the power of 10. And the power of 10 says that 10% of any people group can sway the other 90. So in your employees, if you don't train them to understand the law of separation, that says, hey, our vision is set and fixed, but our goals, our strategies, not the goals, but our strategies are going to change from time to time, you're going to find out that your employees are going to be negative, and you're going to have this downward doom loop spiral, and your employees are going to lose hope. And you can't do that. So that's why you need to have clear communication. So what should happen is when you roll out a new strategy, your employees should be saying, hey, man, we're happy that Jason's rolled out a new strategy and he trusts us enough to bring him the data back to let him know when it doesn't work. Hey, boss, this didn't work. This one little thing didn't work. So I bet if we tweaked it, we could probably reach that vision. Now that assumes that you've communicated the vision in a clear and concise way, that the employees will understand it. You have to communicate your vision. You're not going to succeed if your vision is not communicated correctly. And then furthermore, communicate this idea of the law of separation about how you keep your vision and your goals separate. Because failure is a necessary part of building a successful business. I mean, we're all going to fail. Failure should not be avoided, and it cannot be avoided. So if you're going to facilitate your vision, I'm going to give you a 6-step process. So if you want to take notes, we're going to put this on the screen to help you out if you're watching this on YouTube. By the way, you can listen to my podcast, The Root of All Success, on all podcast players. Go subscribe to it. You can also listen to it or watch it on YouTube at The Real Jason Duncan. So all you got to do is YouTube The Real Jason Duncan, and you'll find my podcast playlist, and you can watch this and you can see what we're giving you in tips on the screen. But 6-step process for facilitating your vision as an entrepreneur. So number 1 is you got to create a good strategy. You got to create a good strategy. Now, we're assuming that the vision has already been set, because these 6 steps are about facilitating the vision. So the vision, of course, is not step 1. That's already done. Step 1 of facilitating that vision is you got to create a good strategy. You don't just throw wet spaghetti up against the wall and hope it sticks. That's not what this is about. You got to have a good strategy. It's got to be based on data. It's got to be based on the understanding of the metrics involved and the variables that are at work here, whether it's customers or employees or whatever it happens, vendors, whatever it happens to be. Your strategy has to be good. That's step 1. Step 2, launch the strategy. So you come up with a good strategy. Maybe you even had help from your employees to come up with that strategy. But once you've got that clear strategy, step 2 is you launch it. Step 3, you're going to study the elements of failure. You're going to look for what worked, what didn't work. And then step 4, adjust. You're going to make some adjustments, because obviously there are going to be things that's not going to work. So you make some adjustments. And then step 5, you relaunch. So now you've set the good strategy in motion, you've launched it, you've studied the elements of failure, you've made some adjustments, and now you relaunch it. After you relaunch it, the sixth step is to repeat this process until it works. So what you do is you've got to have the vision, create the good strategy, launch that strategy, study the elements of failure, get the data from it, make the adjustments, relaunch it, and then repeat that until it works. Now, how many times is it going to take till it works? 6 or 7 times. And once you do that process 6 or 7 times, you should find your exact strategy needed to fully accomplish your vision without scaling back on your goals or without scaling down the size of your vision. And there's this thing about failing fast that's really important right here, is that when you're getting started as a startup and you're starting a company, you need to fail fast, really quickly. Go through these strategies fast. Fail fast and know that this is part of the process. And if you become discouraged about your vision after the second or third strategy launch, it's naive, since all great companies are, understand that you got to go through these iterations. It would be naive to say, well, it's not going to work. This is not going to work. Let me tell you a story as we finish up this episode today. Back in the late 1800s in the Midwest, there was a story of a man who lived there, and he was introduced to the carbonated beverage industry. And, at the time, things like Coca-Cola had just taken off, and this carbonated beverage, these soft drinks, were becoming really hot commodities. People were making a lot of money on soft drinks, and there were dozens of soft drink brands during this time. And this one guy, he says, I want to develop my own soft drink brand. And he had a good idea, as you're going to find out. But within a few short years after he invented his soft drink, it wasn't working. It struggled against the competition, and he would refine the ingredients several times and then launch it. And he did this 6 times. And after his 6th failed attempt to gain traction in the market, he became discouraged. And he said, I quit. I'm done. I've changed this. I've changed the formula 6 times. It's not working. So another company came along. They bought this man's formula, and they continued his research because he had done a lot of research over several years. And they tweaked it one more time. And on launch number 7 of this formula, they had a winning recipe. It devastated its competitors, and it became one of the top-selling carbonated beverages at the time and is still for sale today in stores. And that winning formula became known as 7-Up. Interesting, huh? So once you have clarity of your vision and you've set those goals, you need to keep them fixed. You're not going to have all the data of how to do it, but you need to launch that. Refine the process until you receive the proper data necessary to facilitate your vision, and don't become discouraged. I mean, all of us as entrepreneurs become discouraged when stuff doesn't work, but we have to understand that it's going to work eventually. If your vision is a good vision, then there's a strategy that you can use to accomplish it. All successful people go through this process. All successful people become discouraged in those moments where the vision didn't work. But a lot of people give up 5 minutes before the miracle happens. And don't let that be you. Don't let you be the guy who sells all the gold mining equipment because after 6 or 7 attempts you didn't find the gold. Don't be the girl who after launching your brand and strategies 6 or 7 times give up because it's not meeting your vision, it's not hitting the goals. Keep going. This law of separation can eliminate this discouragement if you truly understand it. It should help you in your pursuit of achieving generational wealth. It should help you in your pursuit of building a significant and lasting brand. But remember, the vision and the strategies have to be separate. Change your strategies, but never change your vision. As a business coach, I work with entrepreneurs, male entrepreneurs doing between 3 and 10 million in revenue minimum and up. And I work with them on how to get out of the weeds of daily operations so that they can build new divisions of their company, launch new products, or spend more time at home with their family and friends, or more time traveling, whatever it is they want to do with that extra time. The issue, though, for a lot of entrepreneurs who come to work with me is they have a great vision and they keep trying to tweak the vision rather than the strategies. So maybe you've hit that plateau. Maybe you're doing a few $1 million a year in revenue, and you've hit that plateau and you don't know how to break through to the next one. And you're just thinking, well, maybe I just need a new vision. Maybe I need to capture new market share or go after a different market. And the answer to that is no. It's just a strategy. And sometimes when you're in the weeds of daily operations, like most of us are as entrepreneurs, we can't see what we can't see. As somebody said, you can't see the picture when you're in the frame. So if you need help figuring that out, how to apply the law of separation to your business, I would be honored to work with you. I'm offering a free breakthrough call. It's 100% free. This is a 1-hour call for you and me to get on the phone call and work through your thing. What is your business? And this is not a veiled attempt at you signing up for my coaching, although if I can help you, we'll talk about what that looks like long term. But this breakthrough call is going to give you the opportunity to see where your strategies may need to be tweaked. If you want to book that, then I want you to go to the show notes, and there's going to be a link there to book a free breakthrough call. It's going to be right here on the screen if you're watching on YouTube, and you can click on it in the description. But if you want this free breakthrough call, all you got to do is go to therealjasonduncan.com and scroll down the page, and at the bottom of the page it says free call. And all you got to do is book that call, and we'll get on the phone and we'll talk about it, because this law of separation, maybe that's the reason you haven't been able to break through to the next level yet. Well, thank you for watching or listening to this episode of The Root of All Success. I hope that you've enjoyed it. I hope the law of separation will help you in your journey to build generational wealth and to make a big impact in this world. And if there's anything I can do, please reach out to me. Make sure you follow me on Instagram or LinkedIn at The Real Jason Duncan. Make sure you subscribe to my YouTube channel at The Real Jason Duncan. And please tune in again next week when I talk more about what success is and how to achieve it right here on The Root of All Success. Until then, I'm The Real Jason Duncan, and as always, Jesus is King.
Attention business owners.
Attention business owners.
Feeling burnout from running your business? Uncertain if you're nearing burnout? Take our free 10-question business burnout test at businessburnouttest.com to discover where you stand. With just 10 quick questions, you'll learn how to immediately begin making changes to regain freedom and success. Cut your daily operations time in half. Improve your quality of life and prepare your business for your future exit without losing revenue or profit. Visit businessburnouttest.com now and take the test. Thank you for listening to another edition of The Root of All Success with the real Jason Duncan. If you've enjoyed this week's episode, visit therootofallsuccess.com to access the show notes and other helpful resources. Follow Jason on social media at The Real Jason Duncan. See you again next time here on The Root of All Success.